Welcome to part 2 of what it's like to be a magnetic woman, where I'm going to share more about my personal experience and the moments and the situations where I felt the most magnetic. How did other people relate to me? But most importantly, how connected I felt to myself. So if you haven't watched part 1, I'll link it up here. You can go check it out and then come back for part number 2. The thing about being magnetic is, like I mentioned in part 1, coming back to self. Just be yourself. But what does that mean? Be yourself. It means come back to that unique version of who you are, with no filters, with no mask, with no performance, just who you are. Speak your truth, move with your flow, and it's all about, I don't want to say authenticity, because I feel like the word authenticity has kind of started to become a bit too mainstream, and people are kind of using it a bit too much, and it's starting to lose its meaning. But the meaning behind authenticity that I put is literally come completely undone, literally the way that you truly are. And so when I started my journey a couple of years ago, and most specifically when I started to connect with, because you're shaking a bit too much, when I started to connect with my feminine energy, it was all about taking myself out of my norm, of the life I knew I had. And that included doing things that I never even dreamed of. Not because I wanted to. Let me be more specific. So one of the things that I started doing at the time was painting and drawing. And let me tell you, I am no Picasso. I'm really not. But it was just the way of getting to know a different side of me, allowing myself to just express myself. And I recall when I was at school, my best friend at the time, well, she was a Picasso, and every time when we would have like an art class and we would have to paint something or draw something, she would sketch it for me. She would help me because I was just not talented in this. And all my life I had the idea that, well, this is not something that I'm good at, so therefore I don't need to try it, I don't need to do it. As a matter of fact, it's best if I avoid it. But in those years, when I started to, really take on the journey of getting to know myself, I felt like I wanted to paint, I wanted to draw. And so I got myself some materials, and very often I would play some music and enjoy the sunset, and I would just be painting and drawing. And let me tell you, the untalented me posted a story or a reel on Instagram. It was on my old Instagram profile with like what I was doing, and I got a DM from one of the girls that was following me asking me how much for this painting. Do you realize where I'm coming from? Do you understand where I'm coming from? The fact that I was not talented in painting and drawing didn't mean that I wasn't feeling myself at the time of doing it. And this is the meaning I put behind being magnetic. It's like you literally removing the filters and removing the things about you that your mindset is holding, telling you that you're not good at this, or you will fail at that, or you will be cringe at this. It's like, do you want to do it? If the answer is yes, go do it. And so the more I was trying to try new things, just literally allow myself to be pulled towards whatever direction I felt nudged, the more connected I was feeling. And this leads me to one of the statements I like to remind myself, that feminine energy is not searching and seeking for perfection. It's seeking for expression. And that is precisely what makes us magnetic. And these were the moments when I started sharing my journey on social media and just allowing myself to be seen, because that is something that I was, again, struggling with for so many years. And I believe I've talked about it in previous videos, that is when people started to relate to me, and I was getting comments like, you're so magnetic, or you're so inspirational, or you're so beautiful. It's not because I am picture perfect. I very well know my flaws, but it's about the energy that we exude and how we relate to what we're doing. And I think that this is the key of embracing your inner magnetism. It's about seeking to express yourself in whatever shape and form you feel nudged towards. And that leads me to another realization I had about inner magnetism, and it's that the more connected you are with what you're doing, the more magnetic and therefore the more confident you feel. Because there is a huge difference between masculine confident and feminine confident. The masculine confidence is coming from how much you've practiced something. You've heard practice makes perfect. Oh, I'm sure that this statement came out from a man's mouth, because for women, that is not the case. You might practice something 1,000 times and still you don't feel magnetic when you do it. You may feel like your ego is rising and like, oh my God, look at me, how good I am. But that is not the sense of magnetic, because it's not coming from how connected you are. It's sort of coming from how others may relate to you. And so feminine magnetism is coming from how embodied you are in whatever you're doing. Let's say you're playing a piano, or you're singing, or you're holding a public speaking event. How connected you are to what you're doing. You're not thinking about how to impress others. You're not thinking about what will the outcome be, because do you notice how I say thinking? You're not thinking. Precisely, you're feeling. You're getting into whatever you're doing. You're getting into the song, into the notes, or into the flow of what you're talking about. That is where the feminine confidence is coming from, and that is what makes a woman magnetic. And that leads me to another question, which is it difficult to actually tap into our most magnetic version of self? Does it take time? Does it take practice? And the answer is no, it doesn't take practice. It can happen in an instant, and it all comes down to allowing. How much you're allowing yourself to be seen. How much you're allowing yourself. But when I say to be seen, I mean seen by you. This is all about you, my love. Are you allowing yourself to be seen by you? Are you allowing yourself to move the way you want to move? Are you allowing yourself to talk the way you want to talk? Or are you still moving in some sort of parameters that you believe is what leads you from A to B? Because again, that is a very masculine energy. And I just want to make an extra point here, that when we talk about feminine energy in a woman, we don't exclude the masculine energy, because from my content, it may seem like I only talk about feminine energy and I nudge women to completely leave their masculine energy aside. That is not true. But returning to your feminine energy requires switching off your masculine, so it can allow your feminine to rise up and to resurface. And then later on, we learn how to make friends with our masculine energy and how to make the two of them work in union, which is what we're essentially supposed to be doing. But going back to moving with no parameters, moving with no borders, moving with no limitations, this is how your feminine energy is supposed to flow. And this is when it feels the most magnetic. You feel the most magnetic when you know that your energy can sprout and can flood in any shape and form and in any direction. And this is precisely how I was being led to embodying my feminine energy. And so this is something that I'm curious. Why is it that you want to be a magnetic woman? And in your mind, what is the vision of a magnetic woman? How do you imagine her? Let's envision yourself for a moment, and I want you to put that down in the comments. Imagine yourself as the most magnetic, inspirational, beautiful, alluring, sensual version of self that's ever existed. How do you move? How do you talk? How do you carry yourself? What do you do? Like, what is this specialty? What is your flavor, so to speak? Because I can promise you, you are just as magnetic as any other woman, but in a special way, in a unique way. And the only reason why you may not feel that way just yet is because the magnetic woman allows herself to move freely, just as she likes, just as she pleases. Whereas the woman that is still secretly desiring to feel magnetic is moving through her mind first and then seeking the connection with her womb heart center. So let me know how this resonated with you, and if you actually enjoy this kind of more easy and chilled type of videos, because I certainly enjoyed it, even though I've been holding you for whatever many minutes now. I've nearly finished my coffee and it's time to get on with the day. So I wish you a wonderful day or wonderful evening, whatever time it is, whenever you're watching this. And don't forget that you are magnetic AF, and I mean it. And the proof is within you. Bye.